The season is just one game old, and every time Calgary's Larry Kuharich turns around, he sees another quarterback. He started with Eric Kramer from last year's team. He's hurt. Then there was rookie Terrence Jones. So is he. Dave Denbraber from Ferris State. Jordan Gagné from UBC. Chip Ferguson from Florida State. Danny Barrett from Toronto. And now Tom Porras from Hamilton makes 7 quarterbacks in Calgary already. Barrett almost produced a win in Regina last week, but Dave Ridgway's last play field goal stole it for the Green Riders. They won by 3. Tonight, Danny Barrett tries again, backed up by Tom Porras, as Calgary opens at home against the Edmonton Eskimos. The Calgary kickoff comes from Mark McLaughlin, and with the wind at his back, he bounces it along the ground. And rookie Mike Souls picks it up for the Eskimos and takes it close to the 35-yard line.
42-yard kickoff by
Tracy Ham was not too thrilled about his game last week, felt he should have thrown the ball when he didn't and run when he didn't. I think Joe Ferrioli wants him to go back to what he does well and be natural. Don't try to be something you're not. Don't try to force the ball downfield. When he sees an opening, when he goes after it, that's when he's at his best.
The Eskimos did not score a touchdown in beating BC last week, so let's find out how quickly they would like to strike the 6 points and how they might decide to do it tonight. Tracy Ham did a lot of this against the Lions, and there was some question as to whether he was mixed up, uncertain, or whether BC just played good defense. We might see some of the same tonight.
Well, he does get pressured out, and he did last week. Good protection. The backs are going to release, but at the first sign you see him step up, he's still looking downfield. Last year, Tracy Ham, I believe, would have tucked that football and gotten straight up for 6 or 7 yards. And that's what I talked about a minute ago. Maybe he's doing some things that don't come naturally to him.
Well, he didn't get 7. He did get 6, though, so it's 2nd down and 4. He doesn't look like much in gaining yards. Hesitation in the snap, and they will not have the first down or anything close to it. Not an auspicious start for the Eskimos offensively. It has been beautiful here all day, but the weather is changeable in Calgary. In fact, it's dropped 6 degrees in the last hour and a half. Still rather pleasant, but the wind keeps coming, and that might mean something else is on the way. Jerry Corrick, fresh from a 20-point game in Edmonton's 20-15 victory. It's a good roll. Stacey Dawsey bobbles it. And it's a tug of war to see who's got it. Dawsey got it back. He had a big punt return for a touchdown last week against Saskatchewan, 85 yards, but didn't go anywhere with that.
Well, Jerry Clark's going to have a tough time, at least in the first quarter, as every punter and kicker will tonight, kicking into that wind. As Danny Barrett now having 2 weeks under his belt for preparation to become a little bit more settled into the system that Calgary runs on offense.
He does like to run as a quarterback himself. He's a versatile athlete, has played slot back and wide receiver at other times in this league. Firmly a quarterback now in Calgary. Nice play fake by Barrett. Found the man wide open. That is Brock Smith, newcomer from Fresno State, and a big gain on the first play for Calgary.
Nicely set up by the fake. Watch the handoff to Petros, or the fake handoff. The ball's on Barrett's hip. Now he hits Smith up that seam before the safety Erdman has a chance to come over, and just after he goes by Jackson.
Tom Porras looking on as Danny Barrett starts well. First down Calgary at the Stampeders 48. Again, a nice fake to one back, and he throws to the other. Andy McVeigh.
2 plays in a row now. Danny Barrett has come out faking the handoff, working the play out. linebackers are going to drop off. 3-step drop quickly to the flat. Nice 7-yard cushion, and McVay shows some good speed to get up the sideline before Bass pushes him out.
Confident actions of Danny Barrett on the first 2 plays have been impressive. He almost made a mistake on the 3rd play. Very nearly picked off by Stanley Blair. A long way for Barrett to throw that one to Larry Willis, and Blair almost got there.
Barrett threw the ball a little bit late. He would like to throw that ball before his receiver makes the break. If he waits till the receiver's open, that gives the defensive back, in that case Blair, a chance to react. More time to react, more chance for the interception.
He did have the benefit of a strong wind behind that throw. 2nd and 10 from the Edmonton 48-yard line. The Eskimos are at their 18-yard line, going into the wind. Tony Hunter, a starting wide receiver, flanks far to the left. He starts for the first time after Cornelius Reddick was in that spot last week. A lot of pressure on Ham. He throws it up. Hunter's out of bounds and can only watch it sail over his head.
Well, when an offensive team goes into a set like the Eskimos did that time, 3 receivers to the one side, Joe Farragilli calls them trips. He's looking for something on defense. When that happens on offense, it's up to somebody on the defense, be it the captain like Tank Landry, to make the adjustments, move some people over to get them where they have to be.
Well, the Eskimos, to move the ball, first have to get Tracy Ham settled into some sort of passing formation. He's just scrambled around a couple of times and hasn't shown the ability to find a receiver, much less hit one. And again, that's the story. Hunter was the intended receiver, and on comes Jerry Corrick to punt into that wind again.
Well, Calgary's game plan, or one of them on defense, was obviously to try to get to Tracy Ham. Number one, pressure him from the inside and try to contain him. The first series, they weren't able to contain him. Ham got outside, made some yardage. But if they're going to have success with pressure with him, they need the upfield rush from the defensive ends and a good push from the middle.
Into the wind, and they'll hold that punt up. McCrary on the return to about the 36-yard line. And here's the offense that Danny Barrett directs for the Calgary Stampeders. It is without a starting import in the backfield, although Jamie Townsend, a rookie, is available and should play. McVay and Petros, 2 Canadians, as the runners. Stacey Dawsey and Larry Willis outside, Marshall Toner and Brock Smith, who caught a nice pass on the first play. And up front, Watson, Ferroni, Palumbo, Tom Spallettini, and the veteran Leo. With McVeigh, and the Stampeders only rushed for 27 yards in Regina last week, and they had more or less a set backfield for that game and not for this one. So it's debatable how well Calgary will be able to run, but you have to run once in a while, don't you?
Well, they must be able to run, and I think they're going to try. They started out with some play action, so you'd have to think somewhere along the line, if they're going to have some success over the long term, they're going to have to run the football, as you said.
Just a yard that time. Here's a big second down play. Oh, Barrett was corked, and there's Brian Warren, the replacement for Jeff Braswell. Now we're about 5.5 minutes into this game and haven't mentioned Braswell yet.
Well, Warren, as you said, replacing. You can see him. He snuck up. He's going to come right to the middle. Now, normally, he is the outside linebacker, as you said, replacing Braswell. This time, Danny Bass steps up. They've got the nose tackle Mandridge. They've just really outnumbered the offensive linemen. They don't get a hand on him.
Jeff Braswell, of all the players who aren't playing tonight, received the most publicity prior to this game. He was expected to play until the Eskimos got here and said his knee was a bit too sore to get into the lineup. And, of course, Braswell was a central figure in the preseason fisticuffs that took place for Brian Warren replacing Braswell. Brian Warren celebrating a quarterback sack. The Eskimos had just one in the whole game last week. They've already got two on Danny Barrett of the Stampeders in just over 6 minutes of this game. Johnstone carries the ball on first down.
Johnson seeing an opportunity to carry the football and making a nice read and cutting back to the backside. Now, I think the Eskimos can take some heat off of Tracy Ham if they can get the running game going with Johnstone, Reggie Taylor, Mike Souls, Blake Marshall, whoever happens to be in the football game at the time.
Second down, they need almost 4 yards for a first down, and the Eskimos would like that. And get that. Not terribly fancy. Craig Ellis had to go up and win a battle for the football, but it's a move of the yardsticks for the Eskimos.
You see the pressure coming up. Tracy Ham this time again looks like he's going to run. Looks to the backside. Craig Ellis tries to work his way back away from Ron Hopkins. Gets some separation, but just a great catch.
It looked as though Ellis might have been hit before the ball got there. A good catch considering that and the way it was thrown. And now Tracy Ham goes down. Big Kent Warnock put him down hard.
Well, Kent Warnock in at defensive end replacing Stu Laird, who hurt his knee last week. Comes in hard. A big man with tremendous work ethic, according to Larry Kuharich. Believes that if Warnock plays well at this defensive end spot, it's his to keep.
He had been practicing as an offensive lineman, and there was consideration to make the career move and leave him on the side of the football. But with Laird's injury, Warnock is back as a defensive end and apparently as a starter for quite a while, if not forever. Lazy screen pass to Reggie Taylor, and the Stampeders meet that.
Well, when you talk to Kuharich about the strong points of his football team and why they're better than they were last year, he always talks first, as we see Lamont Jeffers down, about his defense, his linebackers, Ford Landry, and the man who's on the ground right now, Lamont Jeffers, his defensive line. And he hopes that they will carry the football team in the early going until they can get that quarterback problem straightened out. Not that it is a problem, but get some people healthy and get people to continually do the reps instead of every game change your quarterback.
Lamont Jeffers, part of the strength of the Calgary defense, the linebackers, along with Greg Landry and Kenny Ford.
Well, Tom Porras backing up Danny Barrett. Kuharich said he will not hesitate if Barrett isn't moving the football to get Porras in. Both people, being Barrett and Porras, have the ability to make the reads and make the right decisions under pressure. That's why he likes the system he has now.
This Calgary defense that has stopped Edmonton at every turn so far in this first quarter received a lot of praise from Saskatchewan coach John Gregory, and it should be remembered that until the bottom fell out for Calgary in the game last week, they held the Saskatchewan Roughriders for 3 quarters to only 6 points.
And that's an offensive team, as we found out this week, can be very explosive.
Then they go and score 42 at BC. Nothing very consistent about what's happened in the Western Division of the CFL in the first couple of weeks. BC's defense looked good against Edmonton, though in a losing cause, and then was shredded by Saskatchewan. And what does that say to the Eskimos about what they did or didn't do against BC? Corrick is going to run. They can't make yards any other way. The kicker will do it for a first down. Now the question is, did he do it on his own, or was that play designed from the beginning?
I think he did it on his own. The feeling I got when he received the ball is he got ready to take that two-step. But watch him look up and watch the rush to the left-hand side. Landry comes in, gets pinned to the inside, and then a nice chop block on the outside. And not a bad hurdle at the bench either.
Well, he needed a lot of yards for the first down. Didn't make it by all that much. He got 14, and he got it into Calgary territory at the 50. Hand throws it deep. Stephen Jones tries to run under it, but it's only Ron Hopkins with a chance, and he doesn't catch it either. Tracy Ham hoping to finally move the ball. Taylor and Johnstone are the running backs. Stephen Jones and Tony Hunter starting at the other side tonight. Tom Richards and Craig Ellis inside. Up front, Potier, Dermott, Conop, Ambrosi, and Dave Richardson is the right tackle. Not a bad play by Corrick, simply because the Eskimos are moving into that wind, and those punts aren't going to travel too far anyway. Ham avoids a sack and gets a completion. Johnstone, the receiver, and that's Tracy Ham at his best. Number 4 Stampeders ready to tackle him. He wasn't going to run away from them, but he bought himself some time to find a receiver.
Well, he's doing an awfully fine job of keeping things in perspective downfield. Mitchell Price chases him out. It's not easy to run to your left being right-handed and throw, and he takes a pretty good shot after he throws the ball by Derek Taylor.
It's going to be a long night, though, if he has to work that hard for every completed pass. He's got to find a way to set up, throw, and have the receiver where he wants him to be. Not this time either. Diving catch is made. It's tough on the receivers, too, at this rate. That was Craig Ellis.
Ellis, once again, very adept at finding the open spot in the seam, especially when you've got a quarterback rolling to one side. A receiver can often feel defenders go by him, and he gave Ham a nice target.
Time being chewed off the clock in this Edmonton drive. The first sustained march for the Eskimos in the game. Reggie Taylor takes a pitch. Cuts back. Near the 20-yard line. Eugene Beliveau is there, among others, for Calgary.
Well, Beliveau and the rest of the front four for the Stampeders realize that they have a very difficult task trying to contain Tracy Ham, especially if he now begins to threaten the line of scrimmage, and then he pulls that ball back up and throws it downfield just as defenders start to leave the receivers.
Short game for Taylor, 2nd and 7, just outside the Calgary 20. Inside the 5-yard line, and that's the way Tracy Ham wants to throw the ball to Stephen Jones.
Well, that's ideal, and that's how it usually happens in practice, where Stephen Jones gets an opportunity to go out, work on a man, makes a nice cut, and that ball's in the air before he had made his cut to the outside.
Ball placed just inside the 4-yard line. 1st and goal. Ham's going to throw it. Wide open, but the catch is not made. Reggie Taylor was all by himself. Ham couldn't hit him.
You might think, as you watch Ham get ready to go back to the huddle, that when he throws that ball, threw it up just a little bit too light, and the wind affected it. It's a fairly strong wind, and it's in his face, and it blew the ball back around. Made it tough on Taylor.
Tape on the ankle. In fact, an Achilles tendon injury is what we're told about Lamont Jeffers, so that can be serious, and they'll take a lot of time before they let him go back in the game to be sure he's all right. Flag down, and that's interference. Craig Ellis was hit earlier on a catch he made, and that time The illegal interference was noted.
Pass interference. Calgary, number 49. First down.
Ellis knows how to draw a crowd. Not only is Frank Balkovic called for interference, he's in for Jeffers. Greg Peterson's there. Derek Taylor's there.
Well, the fact that Balkovic was there and hit him made an obvious penalty, and it was called. Tracy Ham was ready to call it if the official didn't. Ellis jumped up. And they had to call that one, and here it is. First and goal, and you think that they'll run it in. Tracy Ham dives. No signal yet. Apparently did not get it.
Well, this is a great time after the Eskimos have taken some time off the clock for Larry Kuharich's defense to come up big and hit the gaps. Good surge here by the defense along the line. Get underneath the offensive lineman. That's what they want to do. Take the momentum away from that thrust, and then everyone else, linebackers and defensive backs, come up and fill those holes above the lineman.
Ball comes back to the 1 for second down. Johnstone runs it in without much trouble, and the Eskimos lead 6-3. And as we noted with the Achilles tendon problem, Lamont Jeffers is going to leave, and we'll keep you posted on whether, in fact, he has any chance of returning to this game.
Just a nicely executed short yardage play with Blake Dermott stepping out and around from his guard position, getting a block, the lead running back getting a block. It's pretty tough to stop a guy like Johnstone, 225 pounds, 6'3", if he has an opportunity to get a run and drop that shoulder.
Well, it took almost 5 quarters for the Eskimos to get their first touchdown of this season. That was it by Chris Johnstone, and Edmonton will try to make it 7-3 with a conversion.
See the lead block, the running back kicks out, happened to be Stuart Hill. He trips him to turn outside. It doesn't have to be fancy, but what that does is creates a lane for Johnstone. And you don't mind giving a running back like that a one-on-one situation with a defensive back coming up, because usually the back's going to win.
14 plays, and the Eskimos like that fact as they go into this win. 75 yards. They like that even more because the 75th yard made a touchdown.
Well, into the wind or against the wind, that you put a drive like that together, it's great because not only does it take time off the clock, gives your defense a rest, but it gets the Calgary defense tired. I mean, it's a warm evening down there on the turf. The players know it.
In fact, it was 2 drives in one. The first one had stalled, and then Jerry Corrick kept it alive with the run out of punt formation.
I got off the other linebacker. I was going to let you just wait for him. And she just get it. We're so fun tonight, baby. Let's go. Let's have some fun, baby.
Hey, I'll look behind you. Boom. I saw you. But see, you were so hard to see, right? And they collided. Hey, Tommy.
That's what I thought. That's why I looked real quick, because there wasn't nobody on me.
But see, I thought it was a switch, right?
No conversation necessary for the extra point by Jerry Corrick as the Eskimos take the lead. 11 points were scored in the opening quarter tonight, 7 of them by the Eskimos, and here's a second down play coming up for Edmonton while the Calgary offense wonders what to do better when it gets the ball back. And the defense is charged with the responsibility of getting that ball back right now. Ball at Edmonton's 39. And waiting as long as he can. Now he'll take off. And he'll get the first down and more. Near midfield.
Crazy hand keeps it on field.
Well, that play action, a little bit of a handoff fake to Marshall, started to the short side of the field, but quickly changed to a wide side field play. Looks like they've got them nicely sealed off, but congestion downfield. Watch when Ham turns to run. 33. Good block downfield by Ellis. Everyone's trying to pick off a man. Tom Richards. That's the difference between your quarterback making 5 or making 12.
And everybody covered but Tracy Ham, so he ran. Eskimos moving too quickly as Blake Marshall takes the handoff, so flags come down all over the field.
Frank Balkovic in on the
early movement along the offensive line. Pierre Vercheval at right guard.
We'll give you a look at how Calgary is lining up defensively in this second quarter of play. Vernell Quinn, 2 quarterback sacks last week with Price, Beliveau, and Warnock, who's got one already tonight. Ford and Landry, and Frank Balkovec is now in at the linebacker spot for Lamont Jeffers. And in the secondary, Chris Major and Ron Hopkins are at the corners, McCrary, Peterson, and Derek Taylor inside. Frank Balkovec for Lamont Jeffers. Ball back at the Edmonton 49. Try to get their signal straight this time. And just dumps it off to little Reggie Taylor. He doesn't come down easily.
And swings it out to Taylor.
Swing pass to the running back, nothing very fancy. 26. Taylor takes a step up. Watch him release to the right side, blocking downfield. Tom Richards, a good one. First of all, everyone gets a helmet on someone, and then when you got a guy like Taylor's ability, he's going to find the difference. Starts the inside and boom. Gives Landry a little bit of test there.
That's as well as you can block him or anybody else. Eskimos running short yardage on first down with Marshall, who is now getting some work in Chris Johnstone's place.
Tank Landry in on the stop of the Stampeders.
Talking to Kaharich about his defensive team, he said maybe the strongest part is their linebackers. We mentioned that. But one thing that happens in practice and in games is the enthusiasm through the Doug Landry and the Ken Fords. That's contagious, and it helps keep that defense up.
Ham had lots of time, couldn't seem to find anybody, but if you've got that much time, eventually a receiver will come open. Ham sidearmed it to Richards.
Tom Higgins, the offensive line coach for the Stampeders. Dan Froney in there, Leo Blanchard on the right. They're talking over different blocking situations. What to do when a linebacker comes up and covers a guard when he's not knowing my man. That's the situation the defense of the Eskimos are trying to create. Confusion.
Pitched it one way, and Reggie Taylor tries to run another. He won't get anything.
Calgary defense often moves their formation before the ball snap in reaction to the Eskimos movement. That's what they did here. A pitch to one side, but they came back, and Landry didn't move a bit. He's following the play, gets a gap that was left open on the offensive line, and forces Taylor back into the hands of Ford.
Kenny Ford made 10 tackles to lead the league in the first week, and he got another one there. Landry had a big game as well against Saskatchewan. Second down and 10. Ham pumps once, and this is an all too familiar sight for Joe Farragalli in this game. Tracy Ham is forced to try to run for the first down. There are Stampeders lying down in his wake. Ham will get up slowly and look to see where they put the ball.
Well, Tracy Ham does have that ability, and strangely enough, asking Coach Kaharich what bothers him most about Ham when he runs is simply his ability to run outside, something the Calgary defense is going to have to stop if they're going to have some success against Edmonton.
Stay tuned at halftime for a progress report on young quarterbacks Steve Taylor of Edmonton and Terrence Jones of Calgary, who have not yet progressed into game action.
If I don't feel that confident about you guys taking me in the top 3 rounds, then hey, I just go to Canada and play. And
played 4 years of high school quarterback and 4 years of Tulane quarterback in college. And why would I want to do something else after 8 years?
Well, the Stampeders say that the CFL fans are really going to like Terrence Jones when he can get into a game. There was hope that he might play next week against the BC Lions. There is still that hope, but not as much as there was a week ago. So it might be a couple of weeks before Terrence Jones plays. And who knows when Steve Taylor gets into uniform for Edmonton. The Eskimos carrying 4 quarterbacks, and they like them all.
Doug Landry. This is how the injury occurred. He comes in, tries to get a shot at Tracy Ham by lowering the shoulder a little bit behind the play when he tried to make the hit. It's tough to guess what can happen when a guy goes down when he has to hit the turf and a player. Now Tracy Ham's physically strong enough to really hurt people when he runs. He's built like a running back.
Jeffers is already gone. Now Tank Landry is down, and the Stampeders will have to put Matt Finley in for Landry, and he'll be going in on a 3rd down play. The Eskimos slightly short of the first down on Ham's scramble.
Up on the play.
Landry leaves, Finley's in, and third down play from the 16-yard line of the Stampeders. 3 backs behind Tracy Ham. He dives himself. Finley dove the other way, trying to meet Ham at the top of his jump.
It's still the 15-yard line.
They have the first down.
Well, athletic therapist Pat Clayton still giving Landry a hand. Almost looks like he got that shot in the head, maybe hitting Tracy Ham's leg and is a little bit woozy, but just shows you the ability of a Tracy Ham. When it all looks lost, coverage is good by the secondary of the Stampeders. They get a good rush. He still gets them close to a third down to keep the driver alive, or at least get a chance to go for a third and short.
Well, there's nothing pretty about the way Edmonton has moved the ball in this game, but move it they have done on at least a couple of occasions. This time they move it inside the 5-yard line. And the catch is made by Craig Ellis. Boy, you look at this Edmonton offense and you talk about running backs and wide receivers. You almost forget Craig Ellis. I think people are going to start thinking of him as one of the keys to this offense if he keeps playing as he has.
Well, we haven't seen the flashy Craig Ellis yet. We've seen a very much of a controlled inside receiver. But this guy can go deep and catch the football.
Again, the Eskimos looking for a flag. No flag is thrown, as Tony Hunter was the intended receiver. Peterson there with the hit, and apparently the officials say he was there legally and not too early. Second and goal. This is where Tracy Ham's running ability should come into play. He throws a deep corner. No catch. Good try by Stephen Jones. Ham threw it very well to the spot. Jones couldn't quite get there and catch the ball.
Well, you call that. He's throwing that football to the spot. He's not looking at the receiver. There's a place in the end zone. And look at Stephen Jones. Boy, he reaches out and almost gets it. The ball jars it loose. And I'm sure Tracy Ham figures the ball's been caught, at least for a second.
The Eskimos will settle for 3 points. Corrick had 6 field goals in the opening win over BC. He's got 7 for the season now, and the Eskimos extend their lead to 10-4.
In the second quarter, the score, the Eskimos.
The penalty when we left was for holding against the Eskimos on the run back, so they keep the ball but don't get the benefit of the yards gained and are back just inside their 35-yard line. Screen pass, Reggie Taylor. No help for him, and he needed it. Ron Hopkins brought him down for a loss.
Again, that quick screen that we saw a little bit earlier to the short side of the field. You try to get the receivers to run the defensive backs off. See Taylor with no responsibility just simply flares out. Good solid hit by Hopkins to bring Taylor down. Not an easy chore.
Flag comes down. It's in the line. You would think holding against Edmonton. Again, Tracy Ham runs to the 45-yard line. But we'll check the penalty. He would have the first down if the penalty is against the Stampeders. Obviously, if it's the other way, he doesn't.
This time, Tracy Ham on the scramble, a little bit slow getting up.
Offside. Calgary number 21 is declined. First down, Edmonton.
There you go. We guessed holding, and it was offside against the Stampeders, so Ham is the first down and an injury.
The last time Tracy Ham ran the football, Landry made the tackle. Landry went out, and this time the same matchup occurred, only Ham went down. As you saw Landry bending over in a little chat with his old buddy Tracy Ham.
It's interesting, we talked at some length to Joe Farragalli today about Tracy Ham's running and whether or not the coach wants him to run as much this season as he did last season, and I didn't think Tracy Ham wanted to run all that much last week. Tonight he has to, whether he wants to or not, it seems.
Well, as we said on the outset, that Tracy Ham might have been doing some things that didn't come naturally to him. Look down the field a couple times, check your reads. If the reads aren't there and there is an opening, and he spots them very quickly as Rick Warman, the backup quarterback, or the number 2 quarterback, warms up, that he should take those openings and run the football.
But this is the risk every time he does it. Tracy Ham apparently is all right. He was smiling while talking down there. Rick Warman, of course, finished up last week as we look again at Landry meeting Ham once again. And when you run against this Calgary team, you're liable to meet this guy at the end of your run.
I think when Ham gets a helmet on the hip, it almost looked like right at the end there. Right there, the left hip. Obviously, Landry's shoulder isn't bothering him too much now.
Warman was inserted in last week's game while the Eskimos had the lead, and of course they held it to win. It's somewhat unorthodox to change quarterbacks when you're in front, but the Eskimos did that, and they do it again this time out of necessity. With a 10-4 lead and a first down at their 45-yard line, Rick Warman, ex-Stampeder, calling these signals. Warman, much more of a drop-back passer, and you can look for a different offensive philosophy when he's in there.
I'm wondering, will we see a different defensive philosophy? When Tracy Ham's been a quarterback, seems like Calgary's been reluctant to bring more than the front 4, maybe occasionally a linebacker. But with a stand-up quarterback like Warman, will they start bringing more people?
Ball at the 52. They need 3.5, maybe close to 4 yards. Warman hands it to Taylor, and he'll get the first down.
Taylor gets the call for the Eskimos. Calgary.
Reggie Taylor makes a nice read, comes front side handoff, and then weaves back and finds a hole. Teammate both as a Lion, as now as an Eskimo, Greg Stuman says, a lot of people can't appreciate and don't know how good Reggie Taylor can be and is right now.
The Stampeder 48. Great catch by Richards over the middle as Warman hits him at the 30-yard line.
Well, a quarterback's job in many cases is leading the receiver into an open area. The receiver is going down as Richards does, but the middle was a little bit open. Peterson, the safety, is back deeper, maybe a little bit more than usual. As you see, Peterson gets the jump on the ball, but it was over top of Richards. The ball was thrown nicely into the seam.
Eskimos have had the ball most of this second quarter. They have only 3 points to show for it. Warman outside. Jones made the catch, flag away from the ball. As Jones was stepping out of bounds, the flag was thrown right in the middle of the field.
At the 19-yard line. Flag down, though.
Calgary number 33 decline. First down, Edmonton.
Stevan Jones controlling his body. Again, the ball should be thrown as he's making the cut to the outside. Tries to push off the defender to get some separation. See how he comes back to the sidelines. And a good job at getting that 1 foot down as he's concentrating on the football.
As for the penalty, which was declined, as soon as we find number 33 for Calgary, we'll tell you who he is.
It's a mystery defender.
Warman to the end zone. Taylor for the touchdown. Reggie Taylor got in behind Frank Balkovic, the linebacker, and Rick Warman comes in and does what Tracy Ham hasn't done yet this season, throw a touchdown pass.
And use a number of different receivers while he was doing it. In all fairness to Frank Balkovic, he's going to have a hard time staying with a guy like Reggie Taylor. And that's the matchup they want. Taylor will run out to the flat and then turn up the sidelines. Balkovic will trail him in good position in a flat if the ball is thrown. But if he wheels up as he did, it puts the linebacker in a tough situation to stay with him, especially a guy like Taylor.
Well, I think you could see just what changed in the Edmonton offense when Ham went out and Warman came in, and changed for the better as far as Edmonton was concerned. They moved the ball crisply and effectively to a touchdown and a Jerry Corrick convert and a 17-4 lead. The Eskimos have had 3 drives of 70 yards or more in this game, and they have a lead of 17-4 to show for it. Jamie Townsend returning the kickoff, and I mentioned the yards gained by Reggie Taylor and his Eskimo teammates. They had 270 yards in the entire game last week, total offense. They've had 237 already, and they could surpass last week's game total in this week's first half.
Well, if Rick Warman has the opportunity to stand back and throw the football like this and step through the ball so he can deliver it, he will pick apart the defense of the Stampeders. They're going to have to start to bring some more people, put pressure on them.
Barrett still at quarterback for the Stampeders. Away from one man, he could run and should run. Ruck chases him down, but not till Barrett gets the first down.
Danny Barrett gets it himself.
Well, maybe we'll start to see Danny Barrett take things into his own hands now to try to change things around. Danny Bass, the middle linebacker, on a semi-sprint, forces Barrett out almost immediately. Now Stacey Dossie, 81, downfield, follows the point and makes a pretty good block to allow Barrett to get that first down before Ruck from the backside makes the tackle.
Just shy of the 49-yard line, Calgary territory. Barrett again is rushed. Bass gets him this time. Ball is loose. It is scooped up by the Eskimos. Brett Williams has it. Well, Bass won't miss twice in a row very often, and he recovered 2 fumbles against the Lions. He caused one that time.
That's exactly the same play that we saw on the first down. Danny Bass is running parallel to the line, and then he picks a gap. When the backs or a lineman has committed and put a helmet on somebody, then he just sprints through the hole. Same play, only this time far more successful for the Eskimos.
.43-yard line of the Stampeders. Edmonton ball. Norman still the quarterback. He throws it deep. Receiver went out of bounds and came back in. Stephen Jones couldn't get to the football. Warman was hit. 2:51 to go in the first half. Dan Bass usually around the ball, making things happen. The Eskimos have it now at the 43-yard line. Here's a stat for you. This will be their 36th play from scrimmage. The Stampeders have had 12. Ellis down with the ball, up again. Craig Ellis at the 10-yard line.
Rick Warman showed some courage in standing in, knowing some heat's coming from the backside. Derek Taylor, you'll see him, halfback, comes in, makes the hit, but boy, can you stretch out. We talked about Ellis being a control receiver, but he can go long. And because of that blitz, that middle's going to open up, and Ellis found the opening.
The defender was Junior Thurman, Ulysses Thurman to be exact, a rookie in for David McCrary in the defensive backfield. Younger brother of former NFL star Dennis Thurman. He was beaten, but it took a great catch by Ellis to make the play a completion. That's not a good pass by Warman, thrown in behind Richards. Larry Kuharich, what does it take to take Barrett out and put Porras in?
A week ago, so he's also had a full week. We have experienced quarterbacks. I think our quarterback unit today is much stronger than it was a week ago.
Which means, I suppose, that Tom Porras, as a more experienced backup, might go into the game sooner than last week's backup, who was David Denbraber. Wide open for the touchdown is Richards. He took a hit rather late and will stay down, and no flag is thrown. Richards looks rather the worse for wear. Craig Ellis says congratulations, and it's another Edmonton touchdown, and hasn't Warman made an impact?
Oh, impact isn't the word. You think it's sweet for him to come back to a team that he once played with. Didn't feel he got a good shot. He's going to roll to the right. He looks, and then he automatically swings around and releases the ball, knowing Richards has sort of run a lazy up the field and then pushed to the corner. Read perfectly by Warman. And the anticipation of knowing it would come open.
Corrick adds another point. 10-yard pass from Rick Warman to Tom Richards, and there's Richards, the receiver. 20-point lead, and still 2:05 to go in the second quarter. Eskimos, if they can get the ball back, just might add more points.
On that Eskimo receiving crew, you've got Richards and Ellis inside. Both can catch the inside passes, but both have the ability and the quickness to get into the end zone from either inside or out and make the catch.
And the defense shares in that score because it was Dan Bass's hit and Brett Williams' recovery that gave the offense the ball 43 yards away from the end zone. The last 10, Warman to Richards, and here's Corrick with another kickoff.
I just threw it because I almost stopped like a hook and then came on. Rick, he was so wide open, I couldn't believe it. Nice throw in that corner. You know why? Because the safety's really going over down the goal line. So I wanted to roll that way and come back. Oh, good job. Touch, Worm. I ran into a wheel over. Attack, Red, come back. What?
This was the best part of Calgary's game last week against Saskatchewan. Special teams. Jamie Townsend is turning into their best play of this game. They ran 2 kicks, actually a punt to kick off back for touchdowns. Haven't been able to move the ball too well otherwise tonight.
Well, it's a situation where neither offense nor defense have come up with the big plays, and you need a spark. You need someone to stand up and make a big play, and maybe that's enough. Good field position to get the Calgary offense and Danny Barrett on a roll. Get them some confidence. They have to understand and believe that they can move the football before it happens.
First down, Stampeders down by 20 points at their 48. Just under 2 minutes to go till halftime. Incomplete. Barrett trying for Smith. Enos Jackson was there. The fans think that interference might have been called, but the officials don't.
One of the game plans Larry Kuharich had talked to us about yesterday in our meeting was that he wanted to go to his running backs more, out of the backfield, swing patterns, hot patterns, trying to get a mismatch, and I haven't seen a lot of that in the first half.
Those running backs now are McVeigh and Townsend. Larry Willis, and that's the guy that Barrett should be wanting to go to, the most dependable receiver. Made that catch. It's a first down for the Stampeders, and that has been a rarity in this first half at the Edmonton 51.
Coverage is awfully close, but Willis, having that experience, knows he's got to have some separation. You're right. I'm surprised they haven't gone, or at least looked at him a little bit more. That's his first.
Clock moves as Barrett marks out these signals. Here comes the blitz. Stampeders picked it up nicely. Play made by Jackson. A little bit over the back, says Danny Barrett. So does Brock Smith.
Well, the key defensively is if you're going to put pressure on your quarterback and give them that hot situation where a receiver should come open quickly as he passes the line of scrimmage, you need close coverage. And that's exactly what the Eskimos are doing. Here comes Bass, Hill. They're all coming in pressure, but the key is tight coverage. Even Larry Ruck had good coverage.
Minute 29 to go, second down. Here they come again. Barrett reads it, throws it up. Stanley Blair stride for stride with Willis. And I think Larry Kuharich is going to gamble on third down.
Well, Stanley Blair is known for his quickness and his ability to position himself on a receiver. And it won't be easy to do, especially on Willis. Look at, he gets the jump, then stays to his outside shoulder. The ball's thrown generally over the outside on a 1-2 pass. Blair was there.
Down by 20 points. The Stampeders, 3rd and 10 from the Edmonton 51, are going to gamble. Eskimos scurrying around. I don't think they've got the right players on the field, and Danny Barrett's over there saying this isn't an injury. This is just a reason to stop the clock and get things sorted out defensively.
Well, Mike McLean, a timely cramp. That's the thing to do. A heads-up football team will not let a play go off, especially when you're hearing the coaches from the sidelines yelling at you, we have not got enough men.
Well, the Eskimos, of course, have the ability to call a timeout in this situation. Time is out now, but only until McLean gets up. Actually, the Stampeders do have to snap the ball, so that's why Edmonton didn't want to use the timeout. They'll be hoping to get the ball back and use it then.
Well, we hope it isn't a serious injury to Mike McLean. He's been getting some time in at linebacker. Well, watch the left of the screen. Just a little conversation right there. We haven't got enough guys. Blake Marshall, the captain of the special team, saying, do you feel a cramp coming on, Mike?
Marshall says, I don't feel well, but you go down. So here's the third down play that the Stampeders want to call. Barrett on the roll is met and dropped. And that was Greg Stuman, and that's not the man you want to meet in that situation.
Well, the pressure came from up in the middle. Danny Barrett was flushed really into Stuman, and Stuman just plays it perfectly. He goes up the field and just waits. He knows he's going to come to him.
Finally.
Kenny Ford is not feeling the best. So after Jeffers left the game and Landry took a break for a while, Ford is now hurt, and that's the three starting linebackers for the Stampeders. The injury to his thigh, he's getting some ice on it. Draw play to Blake Marshall. And now some of this hitting that was so prevalent in the exhibition game starts to show up. The Stampeders have to be frustrated. It has not been a good first half. They've been dominated every which way.
Gain of a couple of yards.
Second down passing situation for Rick Warman. He has passed well since relieving Tracy Ham. And he'll pass again. He beat the rush. Hey, Rick Warman is impersonating Tracy Ham. And just after getting the first down, he said the impersonation is over.
And did a nice job impersonating him, too. You see him wiggle his fingers. He says, let's go. It's time to get into a hurry-up offense because they want to get some points with 51 seconds left. And there's Warnock getting upfield. Hector Patier giving him that outside and just riding him.
Warman juggled the snap. He'll go out of bounds, stop the clock with 40 seconds to go. Rick Warman doing a nice job. Tracy Ham, the starter, is out. Warman is in. And does this add to the embarrassment of the Stampeders that it's an ex-Calgary quarterback doing the damage?
I don't think they'll notice it right now, but I think it's something that they'll look at the films tomorrow and say, geez, he used to play with us, didn't he? The guy who just beat us?
Well, for all the quarterbacks the Stampeders have had already this season, Warman is one that they didn't want last season. Here comes Landry on the blitz. They picked him up. Warman throws it. Didn't throw it too well. Hunter is the one complaining now. So is Warman. Maybe he's just mad at himself.
Eskimos from the 35-yard line.
Well, Stampeder defense now seems to be trying to put some more pressure. The offensive line of the Eskimos, a veteran group, has done a good job of picking up the stunts. The running backs, if they see something happening, will sneak up to the line of scrimmage, not let a defensive linebacker get any penetration to get in the quarterback's face.
Corrick has missed just one field goal this season. He was 6 for 7 last week. He's made one already tonight. This much longer than that. 42 yards for Jerry Corrick with the win. So distance is not a problem, and neither is accuracy. And the Eskimos add to their already large lead. It is now 27-4 with half a minute to go. Well, the Eskimos have to know Danny Barrett's not going to hand the ball off in this situation. Ball is on the ground. He hands it over to Edmonton. Another turnover. And with 25 seconds to go, now the Eskimos are thinking about getting 30 or more in the first half of this game.
They describe it as an attack-style defense. Looked like it was picked up, but when Barrett tried to scramble, it was knocked loose. Had no chance. He's not getting a whole lot of time to look downfield and try to find a receiver.
Well, Hill and Stuman combined on the hit. Ball is at the 31-yard line. Gorman outside. He could not hit Stephen Jones.
Stephen Jones, the intended receiver.
Well, Rick Warman has had things pretty much his way as he checks that wristband. That's written on there, playing situation, first and second down choices for him. See what he pulls out of his hat now.
31 yards away from a touchdown. There within range of another Corrick field goal if this second down play doesn't work. Gorman will throw it deep, too high for Jones. It's the way they are looking at it at the Calgary bench. Corrick will come in and try to make it 30 points in 30 minutes of football. Last one from 42. He'll kick this one from 38 yards out. And Warman is the holder. And unfortunately for Calgary, there's still time on the clock in the first half after this kick, which is good. Edmonton 30, Stampeders 4.
Well, there's the threesome. You had a quick look at them. The holder, Rick Warman, the kicker, Corrick, and Blake Dermott, the snapper. But the lucky charm is the Stampeder Busters kicking tee. And that's designed and artwork done by Dwayne Mandrusiak, the equipment manager of the Edmonton Eskimos. And you talk about people being on a roll, running backs and receivers, quarterbacks. Jerry Corrick has certainly got his things going his way. And it started last week against BC, and there they are.
Well, he doesn't have to do all the scoring tonight, as he did last week. Barrett just fires up the arm and throws the ball deep, and there's not a receiver within 15 yards of the ball. 6 seconds to go. Keep looking for signs of rough stuff.
Got it right here.
But the Stampeders don't appear to want to strike back out of anger or frustration. Not yet anyway. And the Eskimos are holding their cool while simply enjoying this.
Well, I was going to say they're just having fun. And that's what it turns out to be. When things go well for you, as they have in this first half, they all have a smile on their face.
6 seconds left. Here they come at Barrett, who's going to throw it again. Dawsey made the catch. He's down on the ground. With 1 second to go, they're going to get another play from their 50-yard line.
Well, Dawsey's been a big play man for the Stampeders on special teams, and Larry Kuharich wants to see that type of spark as a receiver. Catch some short passes and explode upfield. No, they're not having any fun at all.
Barrett gains 5 to midfield to end the first half, and the Stampeders may well show us Tom Porras in the second half of this game. They managed only 4 points themselves, and they gave up 30 of them to the Edmonton Eskimos. More kickoff practice for Jerry Corrick coming up. 12:18 to go in the third quarter, and depending on how you look at it, there's either too much time left for Calgary or not enough. Obviously, they have any designs of coming back. It's not enough. Here's Tom Porras entering the game at quarterback in place of Danny Barrett.
Well, we'll see what Tom Porras has in his repertoire against a defense that has been basically ruthless.
We saw Tom Porras. He was quarterbacking Hamilton in a playoff game at Winnipeg last season. Petros is hit by Ruck. Here's what's happened to the ball when Calgary has had it. They got scores 2 of the first 3 times, and headaches and heartaches ever since.
Running back Andy McVeigh is down on the turf. Attended to by Pat Clayton, the athletic therapist, and things are going downhill even more for the Stampeders.
You asked the Stampeders when they went to training camp, what's the worst start you could have to the season? And they'd say, well, we lose a couple of quarterbacks to injuries, the 2 guys we wanted to start the season with. Then we'd go to Regina in our first league game and blow a 26-point lead. And then come home and get blasted by Edmonton. And that's exactly what's happened.
Well, it sounds more like a bad dream, as you say, than reality. But in fact, that is what has happened. And Danny Barrett, I know, is puzzled.
Looks as though the home team will only bat .500 in the first 2 weeks of this Canadian Football League season as Andy McVeigh gets halfway up. The Tiger Cats won in Toronto. Saskatchewan won at Vancouver. Toronto spoiled Ottawa's opener. And it looks as though Edmonton's going to win in Calgary. That's 4 wins by road teams. Otherwise, the home team has won 4 times at home. And the Eskimos were one of those clubs.
Well, Joe Farraghelli had his 60th birthday on the 18th of April this year. And, you know, back a few years when he was the coach of the Eskimos along with Cal Murphy, and it's still time for a smile, they had that heart attack and they put them both in the hospital, and they made a pact that when they both reached 60 years of age, they would retire and walk away from football. And Joe Farraghelli at 60, as I said in April, is still going strong. And when you ask him about it, he says, well, I feel 18. Why should I retire?
Tonight,
he feels about 14 tonight. Look at the line of scrimmage.
Hello, Tom Forrest. He threw the ball, and that's an incomplete pass instead of a fumble.
I'm talking earlier about the line of scrimmage. This time it was Greg Stuman's turn. Everybody is up along the line of scrimmage. The linebackers, the defensive linemen, which totals 7. Again, that attack-styled and missed man, trying to get the offense to make a mistake and not block somebody. And I'll tell you, that's a heck of a hit he lays on Porras, being Greg Stuman, and they are now just taking turns. Who's going to get a shot at the quarterback?
This is the overpowering Edmonton defense that we thought we might see last week. Almost a bad snap to Manich. He can't punt this, not the first time anyway. Throws it, flags down, ball knocked down. Good play by Hunter, who was back there to receive a punt.
Manich on the throw, and there is a flag down.
Well, we knew Edmonton wanted to go after the rookie tonight. They did in the very first punt. And once again, they force him to run. Kicks left-footed and throws right.
Well, the way he was running to his left, he probably would have had an easier time punting the ball in.
Wait a minute, make it even, you fuck!
Edmonton, 44, holding is declined.
He's home. That's
unnecessary
Braswell.
roughness. Yep. Edmonton, number 20. Calgary, first out.
Now there, Jeff Braswell says, I don't play. I sit at home, I watch. They still call a penalty.
Still can't get a break. Actually, pretty good move. Working to the right side, and he takes a heck of a hit by Wilson. And that's the unnecessary roughness. The holding was downfield. Still trying to make a decision on where and who gets the ball and what and why am I punting.
25, first out. Stampeders accepting both penalties against the Eskimos. The holding and the roughing will make it 1st and 10 Stampeders at the Edmonton 50-yard line.
Biggest play of the game for the Stampeders. 2 Edmonton penalties. First down, Calgary.
I think we can gather he's not happy with the call, and his defense is still on the field.
Forrest through the hands of Larry Willis.
Well, the Eskimo defense hasn't backed off one bit. They continue to bring and show Calgary different fronts, be it linebacker, halfback, and the defensive lineman.
Does this mean he is their number 1 quarterback?
Right now it does.
They don't necessarily stay that way long in Calgary this season, though.
the intended receiver.
Once again, Danny Bass gets a free shot. With the Calgary quarterback, this time it's Porras. Calgary, the offensive system, is going to have to come up with something on the sidelines to read that multi-man front and get a receiver out and throw him the ball quickly and try to execute one of those hots they've talked about.
Why bother reading it? Why not just expect it every play?
Well, but expect and react to it.
Oh, Maddox will try again. Left-footed or right-handed or something. Tony Hunter to the 20-yard line. 10-10 remaining, third quarter. Calgary defense beaten up in this game. Two linebackers, Lamont Jeffers and Ken Ford, have retired with injuries, and that leaves Tank Landry and a couple of backups. That's just one of Calgary's problems. Hand to Taylor. He tries to beat Thurman outside. Can't do it. Goes the other way. Gets a good gain. A first down, in fact.
Taylor out past the...
Well, you talk about making something out of nothing, and that's exactly what Taylor did. At the point of attack, the Calgary Stampeders did a good job of taking away all the holes by getting to the gaps. The cutback, there's Finley. Everyone to the outside. Quinn tries to get a shot, and he simply comes back and finds himself a lane and makes a good gain of 11 yards.
John Stone, more yardage, another first down. The Eskimos might be doing all of us a favor, and maybe especially the Stampeders, by running the ball now and letting that clock move as fast as possible.
See, Blake Marshall, the shoulder pads and the helmet are off, and he's got a wrap around his waist, almost like he has some ice in the wrist. Got a shot in the ribs. He's done for the night.
You got him again. You got him again. Step on zone.
Taylor to the 50-yard line. He's within 3 of another first down.
Taylor.
Some of the Eskimo players were talking last year that when Brian Walling was at halfback, and he still is with the Eskimos, number 34, that he brought people off the bench when he carries the football. You get the same type of reaction from your own team with Reggie Taylor. When he runs with the football, people get off the bench, move to the sidelines, and enjoy what he can do.
Eskimos need a little more than 3 for another first down. Ham throws. Good catch and cutback. Craig Ellis. He makes the short catches. You don't really notice him in the statistics, but he sure does it well. He's got great hands and good moves after he catches the ball.
Well, we talked about his abilities as Tom Porras and Danny Barrett with the jacket on there. A little chat with head coach Larry Kuharich. No.
Taylor, and those holes are huge now, and Reggie Taylor breaks the tackles, which aren't much. Thurman will run him out of bounds. Flag goes down.
Well, we've mentioned Taylor's ability, but Chris Johnstone, who's ever been carrying the football, but let's not forget about the offensive line. From left to right, Potier, Dermott, Conop at center, Randy Ambrosie's back in at right guard, and Dave Richardson at right tackle. They're doing a good job of creating some big gaps for their running backs, getting them into the secondary very quickly.
Number 26 on the face mask. It's first down Edmonton, 15 yards back from Point Valdet.
Reggie Taylor carried the ball but committed the infraction.
Probably came from a straight arm.
Well played tracks against the Eskimos. It is still first and 10, though, at the Calgary 36-yard line.
We had the first down made, so they get that much, but move the ball back to the 36. And bothered by Vernell Quinn. Not really bothered, though. He had a receiver open. Ellis couldn't stay in bounds. And Joe Faragalli had stick with it. Big smile on Tracy Ham's face. Been that kind of night for the Eskimos.
Well, Ham went right through his reads completely. You see, when he came out of the center, he looked up immediately to throw the ball. Didn't see that open, so now he went through the routine. Your checklist of who's going to come open and why because of the defense that he's seen. He read it perfectly.
Ryan Walling is in the game for Reggie Taylor. Walling sprinting out. Throw over the middle. Good catch is made. Ball comes loose. Ellis again making those catches, and he has made the tough catches like that all night long. Been in traffic every time the ball's been thrown to him. Craig Ellis, great hands. You don't lead this league twice in successive years in receiving and not be able to catch balls like this.
Well, once he did it as a running back, now as a slot back, he's been able to control that middle. And don't think for a minute when he comes off the football, or now off the line of scrimmage, there isn't a lot of bumping before that ball's thrown. And got a lucky break there on the fumble.
They're just short of the first down, third down, and the Eskimos don't want Jerry Corrick to kick for points. They want the offense to move for another first down.
Well, out go the slot backs as you see Ellis and Tom Richards, and in come who are called affectionately the Elephants, Brett Williams and Stuart Hill, two defensive players.
Main office on the south side for your prize. Again, on page 243, it's an autograph by Kenny Ford.
I wonder if Brett Williams can be a receiver in this play.
Direct snap, yeah, something a little fancy. Johnstone for the first down, and he almost busted a bigger gain. Landry was the man who prevented Chris Johnstone from running perhaps all the way.
Well, the short yardage, you watch Tracy Ham maybe takes behind the center, and his legs are a little bit wider apart than usual. Tank Landry from the middle does a good job of reading and not reacting to try to stuff the quarterback on the quarterback sneak. Matt Finley met him. Just as he caught his helmet, he kind of says, well, he doesn't have the ball.
Walling gets the call. Landry has been in on most of the Calgary tackles. Boy, he's sure worked hard tonight for very little gain.
Well, now's the time the Eskimos, both in short yardage situations in their regular offensive set, to show some things that other teams will see in films that they will have to prepare for. Like that fake.
Ham swings it to Johnstone. He goes to the 15-yard line, maybe down to the 14. That's at least 3 yards short of a first down. So here comes the field goal team.
Landry and Major in on the tackle. It'll be third down for the Eskimos. About 4 yards to go.
3 for 3 tonight, 6 for 7 the other night. 90% on the season, and Corrick should be able to make this one. From the right hash mark, 21 yards away. Another Jerry Corrick field goal. It is 40-4. The fourth quarter, good news for Calgary. It is the last quarter, and it starts now with the Eskimos having the ball at the 40-yard line. Nothing there. This is looking like the worst beating ever administered to a Calgary team by an Eskimo team.
Stopped in the backfield.
And we'll detail that officially, and if it continues this way, 47-4 starting the fourth quarter.
It'll be third down for the Eskimos.
Doug Landry standing alone. They nicknamed the linebackers this year the Bounty Hunters, and there's only one left of the original three with Ken Ford and Lamont Jeffers out, with Bulkovic and Finley filling in.
Calgary and Airdrie, Safeway input for less scores. Next day of home game August 1st against Ottawa.
Flags are down. So is Gauzy for the moment, and now again.
31 yards on the boot by Corrick. Gauzy gets 3 on the run back, and there are flags down.
And with that short kick, someone got caught going downfield and not realizing how short it was. The wind held it up, and one call is no yards.
We've had a lot of penalties in this game, but not of the sort that some people imagined. There have not been the roughing calls, the undisciplined penalties, although this doesn't indicate that there's a lot of discipline going on. It's been a sloppy game from that standpoint, but as you would expect with the score the way it is. And now Tank Landry is hurting, and that would make it unanimous among the Calgary linebackers if he couldn't play.
Well, he's taking a beating. He had a little bit of a burner in his shoulder earlier on in the game, and he's been in a lot of action, so he's...
Too many men, Calgary, no yards, 24, Edmonton, repeat third down.
Too many men for Calgary. We were thinking not enough.
Well, they were just talking about that one play, though.
Jerry Corrick to punt. And the Stampeders have to get Derek Taylor out of there, or there would have been another penalty for having 13 men on the field, let's say that. The punt again, another return by Dawsey. 3 Eskimos land on him.
31 yards on the kick by Corrick. Tracy Dawsey on the run back.
Well, Tracy Ham, we've seen a smile on his face most of the evening. He had some success, especially the second time he came into the game. He's moved the offense very, very well. Larry Ruck, first job is to stop the man in his steps so he can't go after the punter. And next is get down, stay in your lane. Don't be pushed out of the lane you're responsible for, and then close and attack the returner, and that's exactly what he did.
His number's on the scoreboard, 47. That's the number of points that the Eskimos have. The highest number of points ever in a game against Calgary for Edmonton was 54, and that happened a couple of years ago, June of 1987. But the Stampeders had 16 in that game. And only 4 tonight.
Player of the Game Awards this year. The Stampeders would like to thank Molson for their contributions.
Still has the ball. 3 Eskimos know it, but Forrest makes the completion to Tim Petros and gets the first down.
Well, trying to get the flow, throwing some different things at the Eskimo defense, trying not to stand still in a pocket. Tom Forrest is trying to move the pocket around, be it a bootleg or sprint situation. Having some success now, though the Eskimos don't seem to be playing as aggressive in respect to having as many people up. So that can change very quickly as you see the alignment now.
Nice catch coming back by Larry Willis, taken down by Stanley Blair short of the first down. Normally you don't think ahead to the next game when you're playing this one, but the Stampeders have to start thinking about who's going to quarterback them next week in Vancouver against the BC Lions. Barrett and Forrest playing tonight. Does this hurry Terrence Jones back into the lineup, or would that be a mistake to play him unless he's 100% ready?
Well, I think it's a mistake to play him, and they didn't want any news on him until tomorrow after the game.
That ball almost intercepted by Andre Francis. It is third down, and Brent Maddich isn't pleading to punt because he knows Larry Kuharich will go for it.
A quick post run by Dawsey to try to get inside the halfback in coverage. He accomplished what he wanted to. The ball was simply overthrown.
That's Terrence Jones, knowing right now how well he feels, and he'll probably volunteer to play after this. They get the first down on third down. Toner, the receiver of Tom Forrest's pass.
Looks like Porras is receiving some direction from the sidelines. Jeff Tetford is upstairs, one of the ex-Stampeder quarterbacks. He's signaling down, trying to help out Tom Porras.
Forrest threw that one away. What would have to happen for Tedford to become an active player again?
Well, I'm sure Tedford is sitting up in the press box hoping no one gets hurt. Brett Williams in the offseason, it's back home, and he was involved in professional wrestling in the last offseason. It's a bad guy. Occasionally gets mistaken for Hulk Hogan.
handed the ball to Leroy Blue, who gets up and takes a hit for his effort. The story can be subtitled "Gruesome for Calgary." Yes, the score used to be 7-4, and the Eskimos have added 40 points to that. Craig Ellis, one receiver who's been good. Both quarterbacks have been. Tracy Ham in this second half, adding to what Rick Warman did. Warman is in there now. Johnstone, the ball carrier, and Warnock made the tackle.
Johnstone on the carry for the
Eskimos, as you can see, with ice under that left calf. Probably the result of a cramp.
Delavo will also in on the stop.
Now, adding to Calgary's problem is that their next game, the one in Vancouver, is next Wednesday, so they don't have much time to get ready for it. And the injuries make life even tougher in that respect. Johnstone again, close to a first down.
Johnstone carries, wrapped up by Philly.
Yeah, they were inviting this sort of response, weren't they?
That's something out of Friday the 13th.
That's a guy who does not want to be mistaken for the general manager of the Stampeders.
Close to first down ability. It will be third down. No, they'll measure.
As we see a measurement coming up, this is a good time to pass on our best wishes to Stan Hodgson, who is a cameraman on the CFN crew in Edmonton. He's recovering from a mild heart attack. All our best wishes go to him, and also another colleague, Don Whitman, who's a little bit under the weather. Our best to him.
Rogers next week against the BC Lions. July 26th at 8:30, unscrambled on TSN throughout South Calgary. Stampeders thank Rogers Cable for their proud support and the opportunity to give their subscribers.
Hey, if Don's watching, he's probably feeling a little better. If you know what I mean.
He's feeling better than the Stampeders, I'll bet that.
Johnstone is hit, surges forward the second time, then is thrown back. I think he's got the first down, so did the Eskimos.
Well, we're seeing the Eskimos not only in short yardage, but in their regular offensive set, moving their running backs around. Johnstone's run half of the halfback spot out of the fullback. And when you have that kind of luxury, and when you've got the talent that they do with a Marshall, Johnstone, Souls, Brian Walling, and Reggie Taylor, well, you can throw a lot of different looks at defenses.
Well, everybody gets to play tonight. I'm a little surprised you've lasted this long up here.
Well, somebody's got my number.
Bursting through the hole is Mike Souls, trying to get the ball away from him and make him fumble.
Well, rookie waits for his chance. Generally, when you break into the league, as Mike Souls has done, you play more special teams than anything else. But when you get the opportunities, you see just straight handoff. Good job of cross blocking. Great block by McDonald in the middle, cutting off the linebacker.
That's another first-round draft pick for the Eskimos. Souls in blue. They got a Quebec All-Star team in one round of the draft. Johnstone to the 40 and a little bit beyond on first down. Apart from everything else, the Eskimos aren't fumbling the ball or throwing interceptions and not making any mistakes.
The Eskimos are also getting a chance. I said McConnell's playing the game on the offensive line now. Number 55 made a good block in the last play. Souls is in. So again, a good opportunity for Joe Farraghelli to get some playing time for some of the younger players.
Throws it up. Nice try by Marco Sinkar with Junior Thurman against him.
Orland passes in for Marco Sinkar. First major effect of moving on the play. That's all the Stampeder.
Corrickson again. He might not want to be. His percentage is so good. He has only missed 1 of 11 field goals this season, but this is going to take a fair boot. He's against the wind. Still blowing, though not perhaps as hard as it was at one point during the game, but he's 46 yards away. Partially blocked at the line of scrimmage. Hopkins is tackled. We have 6:55 to go till the Eskimos win their second game.
Interested in a better hand soap than that me? I can go. I don't need no lava soap, no. Regular soap won't always work, but lava with pumice will. Interested? No, no, no. Lava, but don't try to cope without it soap.
100 competitors, 10,000 miles, one grueling experience, degree of difficulty astronomical. It's the Toyota Tires One Lap of America, Sunday on ESPN.
Get ready for non-stop action in August on ESPN. There's one great hit after another in 4 live NFL preseason showdowns. Aces abound as the tops in tennis tune up for the U.S. Open. Golf's greatest shoot it out in the final leg of the Grand Slam, the PGA Championship. Daring drivers rev up for NASCAR and Formula One thrills, while the pins fall on the PBA Summer Tour. It's an action-packed August on ESPN.
6:55 remaining. It's bad, but could have been worse. The Eskimos have not scored in the fourth quarter.
No, they certainly haven't tried to take advantage. They've kept the ball on the ground, which obviously runs the clock out. And just as well.
Forrest continues to work at quarterback for the Stampeders, and the clock continues to move. Intercepted. Mike McLean running to the 1-yard line.
And I think he'll be taking that one home. Mike McLean is in the right place at the right time as he celebrates with a couple of their linebacker buddies. Interesting, though, when he gets it, he comes back. He tries to turn into a running back. Simply goes to his drop area. Now everyone turns to an offensive player. Danny Bass is going to throw a block. Everyone's coming back upfield. And tackled by an old teammate, Leo Blanchard.
Well, instead of listening to us, we'll come out of things to say, folks. Let's listen to the players. Warman handed it to Mike Soles, who gets his first CFL touchdown after Mike McLean's interception. And the Eskimos have now passed the 50 mark.
Lead block. Soles comes in, takes a good shot by Landry, but a nice spin move to keep his shoulders coming around and that momentum going forward. And now we're seeing a little bit of the chippiness, and this started back on that last play with that blocked field goal by the Stampeders. Landry had taken a run at Potier. Potier just simply walked up and kept his cool, and again, cooler heads are prevailing.
Well, there should be a medal at the end of this for Tank Landry. He has thrown his body in every direction, every which way. He's been hurt a couple of times. His two buddies in the linebacking corps both gone, Kenny Ford and Lamont Jeffers, and he still plays hard. The Eskimos have now equaled the most number of points they have ever scored in a game against Calgary, 54, and that is 50 more than the 4 of the Stampeders. If you're just tuning in, no, there is not a digit missing on Calgary's score. They only have 4, and it's 54 for Edmonton, and Rick Warman with Edmonton's first down. And less than 3 minutes to go, calls the signals and hands the ball off, which he's done often tonight. He hands it to Mike Soles, who earlier in this fourth quarter scored his first professional touchdown.
Well, we may have had a couple of firsts. I think Mike McLean might have got his first in that interception, too. No, they didn't go in because Soles put it in, so I would have given McLean the touchdown. He got it on the bounce, the one bounce from the 1-yard line.
Johnstone adds to his memorable and busy evening. Out to the 30-yard line, another first down.
Well, this is when the game really becomes fun for the offensive linemen and the running backs. They get a chance just to tee off. Don't have to worry about a pass rush, just have to worry about getting off the football and driving a pretty tired defense back.
Eskimos content to hand it off, run with it, keep the clock moving. If there are going to be cheap shots taken, the Edmonton runners are going to be the victims. Maybe they're not entirely in agreement with the idea of running the ball on every play.
No, I don't know. I think they are. I think if you took a vote, everyone would have their hand up in the air.
I'll be home tonight. I'll be home tonight. Braswell, that's for you, baby. That's for you, Braswell. We'll see you tonight.
Or that's why they called the penalty on 44 earlier. They saw Stanley Blair's
looking at the shoes.
Johnstone wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage.
Landry and Pache still talking a little bit, both with their jerseys out, showing the effects of the effort. Just over a minute to go, and Corrick is going to come in and punt.
Well, that's been a good battle, even though Hector Pache has slimmed down a bit this year to about 265, the lightest he has been in his career, I believe. It's a bit of a mismatch with Landry and Pache.
Dawsey on the return. Flag is down. Dawsey is out. Taken out by Larry Ruck.
Casey Dawsey on the return. Out of bounds at the
2 players injured, one from each team. That's going to hold things up with 53 seconds remaining, and there is the penalty to consider as well.
Well, Derek Taylor for the Stampeders is one of the gentlemen that are on the turf, and I think we're going to have a clip that's thrown very close to where the ball was caught by Dawsey.
Calgary, number 30. First down.
I think in a game like this, both coaches just keep their fingers crossed that injuries don't occur, especially Calgary, who have been the victims of a number of big injuries, not only tonight, but as we've talked about the quarterback situation.
Stampeders play BC next week. The Eskimos have the Toronto Argonauts back-to-back in the next 2 weeks. And it really is tough for this Edmonton team. You know, when you talk about arch rivals, they probably do have about 7 of them. There's this Battle of Alberta, but last week everybody talked about all the spirit and the feeling that went into the game between BC and Edmonton. You forget what used to happen when Winnipeg was in the West against the Eskimos. Well, you probably don't, but that was quite a rivalry. Edmonton versus Saskatchewan, of course. Edmonton-Toronto is always going to be big. Anybody against Toronto, I guess. So it never really lets down for the Eskimos in this respect.
Well, I think it stems from that run of Grey Cups, the 5 that they had in the late 70s, early 80s, and people just love to beat the Eskimos.
Even Edmonton against Ottawa this season is going to be Damon Allen's chance to come back against the Eskimos, and I suppose that who have I forgotten? Hamilton? Well, Edmonton-Hamilton, we can remember Grey Cups between those teams.
And they also always have a good game in the Iberwin Stadium. I remember a few of those. And you talk about Damon Allen in Ottawa. Who would have thought in his first 2 games, even though in a losing effort, he would have accumulated close to 700 yards passing.
Townsend catches catches it and goes out of bounds to stop the clock at the 44-yard line. 42 seconds remaining. Well, the people who are still here, I assume, are cheering for Calgary touchdown.
Well, as futile as it may seem for most that are watching, it is important for Calgary to try to salvage something, get it in the end zone at least once. I mean, it doesn't erase the things that have gone on tonight, but it is some form of accomplishment, as minor as it may be.
I thought Dawsey picked that off the ground, but there will be liberal interpretations where such things are happening now, and 33 seconds to go. Well, let's not have this start.
No, there's no place at all for this type of action.
Well, at the very least, it should have happened a whole lot earlier if that's what the Stampeders wanted to do. Nothing, and I mean nothing, is gained now with half a minute to go.
Well, you had to look at Larry Kuharich. You spoke earlier about there's not a lot of time for the Stampeders to prepare for the next game. Maybe the best medicine is to just take this game film and chuck it. Not even look at it.
Morris throws on the run. Catch is made at the 8-yard line with 11 seconds to go. If we were looking for suspense in this game, this is the best version of it we can find. Can they score from inside the 10 with 11 seconds remaining? They will call a timeout to consider just that.
You know, even though Porras is being successful moving the ball down here, and we follow the ball as it goes downfield, he's taken some pretty vicious shots even after he throws the ball. That isn't unlike what Landry was called for earlier in the game in roughing. Ball's well gone.
Go, Stamps, go. Sound of the game. It's not over. 6 seconds left.
Yeah, they still have a chance. Porras, should he go for the tie or the win?
Should go for the shoe on the foot first. He's probably going to have to run.
I'll tell you, I feel sorry for both Barrett and Porras tonight. They have just been chased all over the field, and when they have been successful throwing the football, they've taken a beating.
This is the last play of the game. Ball is thrown. Willis doesn't know where it is. It's way behind him. It's all over, mercifully. 54-4, Edmonton over Calgary.